That's right, everyone. Dragon Ball Super Episode 5 was here, and it left me in a bad place. Showdown on King Kai's planet. Goku versus God of Destruction Beerus. Hey, at least the title was accurate, right? Where we last left off, Bulma's birthday party got off to a terrific start, and it all got, I guess, better with the addition of the Pilaf gang, ingratiating themselves into the main cast through hijinks, good comedy, as well as plenty of good food, which I think everyone can say is a pretty big Dragon Ball staple. The reason why the Pilaf gang are there? Well, the same as usual, they're after the Dragon Balls! But despite all of this high-action chicanery, we do have to remember that Beerus has just arrived on King Kai's planet. Whoa! He is after the Super Saiyan god of his dreams and sees that maybe Goku might be the one to realize said dreams. Might Goku be able to realize his fantasies, or basically disappoint him? It's okay, Goku, it happens to everyone. We also saw a mix of interesting line art. Sometimes it was really thick in the close-ups, sometimes it was pretty much normal. So it kept jumping around from place to place in the episode. It left it a bit inconsistent, but hey, at least it was visually interesting, so that was a little bit more than I expected. So I think maybe for this episode, it might be a little bit more toned down. At least what you saw from the preview. Oh yeah, and Vegeta is on the way to the ship too to add himself to the mix, so this should be fun. We return to King Kai's planet, and Beerus is making his dramatic entrance by basically just standing there, because apparently that's all they need to do. And hey, it's cost effective and menacing at the same time. All the while, Goku is hidden away in the wreckage of King Kai's house. And at the moment while he's actually looking at the pair, he notices that maybe that big blue guy is the person that might be Beerus the God of Destruction. How dare you, Goku, assuming things like that! Cats can be God of Destructions too, you know! All the while, King Kai hopes that Beerus will just go away because Goku's nowhere to be seen. I don't think it's going to be as easy as that, mate. Beerus is never going to go away. He's just too gosh darn popular. If only he were as forgettable as the Grand Kai. I bet some of you blanked when I said that, didn't you? Hey, I don't blame you. And yeah, I understand why Goku might mistake Whis for the God of Destruction because he looks the more imposing and serious. You think that's the way a divine person would act, given what he knows from Shin and Kibito and all that stuff. But no, it's Beerus. Yeah, it is Beerus. But really, I think this is all just a little bit of light relief in such a tense moment. But to be fair, how else would Goku know? So I guess it makes sense. Beerus then makes himself more apparent by actually walking over to King Kai, and apparently it's been about 327 years since they last met. Oh, and let me guess, Beerus, are you really tired of visiting him because it's been, maybe just a little over 3 centuries? Ooh, that's cutting it fine. Ooh, that's getting a little bit repetitive for you, eh, kitty cat? Goku is back in the rubble of the house, doubting whether Beerus' power is all that's cracked up to be because he can't sense his energy. Now remember, God Ki is something that mortals can't sense at all. It's kind of like the android situation. They don't emit the same kind of ki that mortals do. Also, I didn't remember Gregory being that big. Like, he's almost as big as Goku's torso. Wasn't he like that big or something? Not like that? I'm both scared and confused. I think somebody forgot to check the reference sheet. Oops. King Kai is made to feel even less significant to the plot by saying that, oh, look at that, your planet is rather small, eh, King Kai? Hey, so long as he has a road to drive his Bel Air on, that's okay by him. I bet you don't even know what a car is, do you, Beerus? I'll have Goku to show you that. The topic then moves on to food, and this is something Goku can get behind. You think this might be the moment when Goku might make his mark by saying, hey, I want some of that food! But instead of King Kai preparing stuff, Beerus just asks Whis to prepare his lunchbox from earlier, but wait, didn't Beerus already eat that stuff? Am I that bored because I'm thinking about pocket dimensions right now? I think I am, guys. But no, wait! Beerus, of all things, is not hungry. A Dragon Ball character not hungry? What's going on here? Adhere to your stereotypes, sir, or else, you're not getting any pudding. There! Dragon Ball punishments with food, they always work. Back in the house, Gregory is now shrunk to his regular size, and apparently Beerus knew that Goku was inside of there all along because he calls him out. So Goku has to make himself known. But I mainly think it's down to the fact that they had Whis' magical MacGuffin wand. They basically knew where he was right from the beginning. I mean, come on, you gotta move the plot along somehow. Goku shows up and immediately puts his foot in it by actually acting like himself. And everyone knows that you should never act like yourself amongst the divine beings because they don't know what you're talking about. But King Kai knew exactly what Goku would act like and decides to tell him off. Couldn't you have at least given him a solemn and told him how to act, saying, now Goku, do this and this and that? Because it's not like Goku doesn't know how to act and be formal, because we actually see him do it. So give Goku a little bit of credit, King Kai, come on. He can do it. He can be a sensible boy. After the greetings are made, Beerus asks Goku whether he knows anything about the Super Saiyan God, and sure enough, Goku doesn't know a thing about it, although he is actually oddly curious. But then the conversation moves on to the typical divine being staple of, so are you stronger than Frieza, eh? Yeah, that Frieza. It's like their equivalent of small talk. So, you stronger than Frieza? Oh, yes, very interesting. Yes. I mean, there are bigger barometers out there, people. Cell, Majin Buu. Come on, Beerus would know about Majin Buu. But at this point, Whis decides that he's a little bit bored of the situation because they're not going to get anywhere, and they decide to head off to Earth where all of the other Saiyans are. But just then, King Kai and Goku suggest to stall for time, so that means Earth isn't in risk of being destroyed, that Goku shows him some kind of power somehow, and just entertain the cat for a few more minutes, and maybe he might go away and never come back again, please God. Now, the one thing I noticed, and this is like a sound effect thing, that there was the sound of thunder going on, but it didn't translate to the visuals at all, because there was no clouds up in the sky where the pink stuff is, and the clouds below look the same as they've always done, not kind of a feeling of discontent in the weather. So I think this was more of a stylistic thing. It didn't work, it was more distracting, to be honest. Either way, Goku then requests to Beerus that he fights him directly, and the cat's actually pretty enamored by this request. He's never had this kind of thing before, some mortal actually asking him to fight them. So, by this kind of standard, he accepts the challenge, despite then calling Goku a complete and utter idiot. And then King Kai complies with that. Well, King Kai, you're one solid guy, you know that? But yeah, okay, that was actually pretty funny. And just like that, Goku then goes Super Saiyan 1 to prove a point. And Beerus doubts whether this power is actually capable of destroying Frieza after all. Yeah, it is. Nowadays, even more so than before. And this is despite the fact that Beerus already saw a vision of Goku destroying Frieza in that form. I guess he wasn't paying attention. And neither did it seem that the schedulers were paying attention to their calendars, because herein lies the rub of episode 5 that everybody is aware of. The iffy animation. Now, upon further research and understanding of the animation industry, the reason why this episode looks the way it does is purely down to the fact that the deadlines were too tough for the animators to cope with, so they had to cut corners. They had no other choice. It's not a reflection on their ability, it's just the best they could do in the time they had. I did find it rather odd the fact that Dragon Ball Super was announced in April of 2015, and then it actually came out 3 months later. Surely you'd have like maybe 6 to 12 months lead-in time, so you'd have a bit more things to play with and get a bit ahead? No? And yeah, long shots, you can have a little less detail to get the point across, but still, having dots for eyes and no nose and mouth or anything, that's pretty much inexcusable. This isn't Krillin here. And I understand that in-between frames don't necessarily have to look as detailed because you only see them for maybe 1 or 2 frames tops. But the shots where you basically linger on it for 10 seconds, like that shot where Goku's turning around to look at Beerus, it looks so sloppy. The fact is though, that should look pretty solid for stuff that you're going to see for a little bit of time. Not stuff... The same continues on and on, with the occasional mid-shot looking somewhat decent, so this jump in quality is not only really terrible to see, but it's also rather distracting. Goku then feels like he needs to up the ante some more, and he goes up to Super Saiyan 2. So far so good. It looks like maybe the Super Saiyan 1 thing was just a bit of a blip. Maybe that was just an afterthought, and then maybe the Super Saiyan 2 thing onwards might be a better transfer. Oh no, it's just as bad as before. Actually, it's kind of worse. Yeah, it's kind of worse. And apparently, it's said that a Super Saiyan 2 punch can send a person to another dimension. Is this like an old school dub callback or anything? Did the Japanese know about the old school dub? Wow, that's a deep cut if it is. The process then continues of Beerus dodging, Goku trying to hit him, and the animation jumping all over the place in terms of quality and ability and what time they had. Goku's getting even more frustrated, and Beerus calls him out yet again, saying that you're still hiding your power, so just show me the power already so I can actually have some lunch. So Goku obliges and goes to Super Saiyan 3. Does the quality improve at Super Saiyan 3? No! However, Whis finally reckons that Beerus might have something worth of a challenge, at least worthy enough for him to actually open the lunchbox and have some of his lunch. Ooh, Whis, you little trickster, you wanted his lunchbox, you're stealing his lunch. Ooh, little trickster. The same thing continues again with King Kai's planet being torn apart now. Beerus then reckons that Goku's still hiding even more power and potential. So, to prove a point and try and get him to do it, he flicks Goku away, just like in the movie, and Goku is then hit with a slap to the back of the head and falls out of Super Saiyan 3 in 2 hits. Yeah, that was something. And just like that, Goku is down and then Beerus is gone. Back to Earth, and the party's still going on in full swing, and Vegeta has arrived to the party, much to Bulma's delight. That is until King Kai actually talks to him telepathically and informs him that Beerus is on his way to Earth to try and find a Super Saiyan God. Vegeta recognizes the name somewhat, but isn't quite sure about what it is. So maybe this is someone he's familiar with? So we'll have to wait for that. But what does interest him is the fact that this guy was able to destroy Kakarot in just 2 hits. And that just scares Vegeta even more than just some kind of God of Destruction. Ah! I stand no chance! Despite the fact that he's badly injured, Goku gets up and is determined to find the Super Saiyan God power somehow, and then has to go and warn the planet because, yeah, that could blow up. And then the episode ends. All in all, this episode wasn't pretty. It had some decent moments in the first part, sure, and, you know, the whole initial part of Goku, Beerus, and King Kai talking, okay, that's fine, that was fair enough. But after the first third of the episode, it all started to fall apart when the action began. But the important thing to remember is that this isn't down to the animators, this is all down to the fact that Toei gave them a really hard schedule and something had to give. There is a thing I like to call the triangle of freelancers. There is good, cheap, quick. You can have 2 of the 3 things, but not all 3. For Toei's example, they wanted something quick and cheap. It's not gonna be good. Thusly, the animators had little time to work with, and it really cost the episode's integrity, as well as the entire show. That's not good for the future of it. Other than that, it was a pretty straightforward episode, narratively speaking, with basically almost like a 3 or 4 minute sequence from the movie being elongated to 18 minutes. Although it was kind of cool to see Goku cycle up through the transformations a little bit more in detail, but Super Saiyan 1 and 2 was basically the same. So maybe if Super Saiyan 2 had a bit more of an effort or maybe a bit more progress, that might have felt a bit more satisfying, I guess? But the one thing that really kind of ruined the whole thing was the fact that the quality just jumped all over the place and jarred the experience, and I lost the immersion. And that's the worst thing you can lose. Immersion from the show. You can't escape from it, you're just left completely dissatisfied. But anyway, that was my review for Dragon Ball Super Episode 5. Tune in next time for my review of Episode 6. But until then guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!